When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. The first step is to establish that something is possible. Then probability will occur. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. Any product that needs a manual to work is broken. I think it's important to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. I think life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. It's got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. I would like to die on Mars, just not on impact. We have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future. Starting and growing a business is as much about the innovation, drive, and determination of the people behind it as the product they sell. I think whenever there's something that affects the public good, then there does need to be some form of public oversight. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. Really pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. Hardly anyone does that, and it's incredibly helpful. One of the really tough things is figuring out what questions to ask. Once you figure out the question, then the answer is relatively easy. Rockets are cool. There's no getting around that. When something's important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure. We are the first species capable of self-annihilation. People should pursue what they're passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything else. The future of humanity is going to bifurcate in two directions. Either it's going to become multiplanetary, or it's going to remain confined to one planet, and eventually there's going to be an extinction event. What makes innovative thinking happen? I think it's really a mindset. You have to decide. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. Being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. If the rules are such that you can't make progress, then you have to fight the rules. Many things are improbable. Only a few are impossible. You have to put in many, many, many tiny efforts that nobody sees or appreciates before you achieve anything worthwhile. Focus on signal over noise. Don't waste time on stuff that doesn't actually make things better. My proceeds from the PayPal acquisition were $180 million. I put $100 million in SpaceX, $70 million in Tesla, and $10 million in SolarCity. I had to borrow money for rent. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future and wondrous new technology where you see it and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How is that possible? I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. I don't think it's a good idea to plan to sell a company. Here in the West, people often don't like listening to their leaders, even if they are right. We're going to make it happen. Self-driving cars are the natural extension of active safety and obviously something we should do. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. Life is too short for long-term grudges. I always invest my own money in the companies that I create. I don't believe in the whole thing of just using other people's money. I don't spend my time pontificating about high-concept things. I spend my time solving engineering and manufacturing problems. Work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then you will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve. There are really two things that have to occur in order for a new technology to be affordable to the mass market. One is you need economies of scale. The other is you need to iterate on the design. Talent is extremely important. It's like a sports team. The team that has the best individual player will often win. But then there's a multiplier from how those players work together and the strategy they employ. I've actually not read any books on time management. Starting a business is not for everyone. Starting a business, I'd say number one is have a high pain tolerance. In order for us to have a future that's exciting and inspiring, it's got to be something we're a space-bearing civilization. The factory is the machine that builds the machine. Tesla is here to stay and keep fighting for the electric car revolution. Great companies are built on great products. You should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. Don't be afraid of new arenas. No, I don't ever give up. I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated. Many of the biggest mistakes in life come from taking the safe route. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. I think you should always bear in mind that entropy is not on your side. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better. If something is truly important, you should do it even if the odds are against you. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Focus on signal rather than noise. Really pay attention to negative feedback, particularly from friends. The first principle approach is to boil things down to the fundamental truths. Hard work is the only way to truly master anything. You have to take risks to innovate. Good ideas are rarely implemented by committee. Work like hell. Put in 80 to 100-hour weeks if necessary. Don't just create companies. Create solutions. People should pursue what they excite them. Innovation requires embracing failure. There's no shortcut to success. Being passionate is a prerequisite to extraordinary work. The goal should always be to make a significant impact. It's important to keep learning constantly. You can't have innovation without some risk. Solve fundamental problems, not superficial ones. Be relentless in pursuit of what matters. It's about the people you work with, not just the product.
The reality you face must inform the decisions you make. Don't underestimate the importance of good strategy. The future belongs to those who create it. ideas are easy. Execution is everything. The most important skill is problem solving. When you innovate, you challenge the status quo. Always aim to make things better than they were before. The secret to progress is consistent effort. To achieve extraordinary things, you must take extraordinary measures. Work on things that are important enough to risk failure. A company is only as strong as the team that builds it. Your mindset determines your innovative capacity. The path to greatness is paved with persistence. Failure is part of innovation. Don't be afraid to tackle problems that seem impossible. Rockets are cool, there's no getting around that. Even small incremental progress compounds into major breakthroughs. People perform best when they know the goal. Time invested in learning yields the highest returns. You can't succeed without taking risks. Don't just follow trends, set them. Great products attract great customers. The purpose of life is to create and inspire. You can't fake passion. It shows in your work. Focus on impact, not just output. Be patient. Complex goals take time. Work on problems that could change humanity. Innovation requires thinking from first principles. Great things are accomplished by persistent action. Be ambitious, but remain realistic. Collaboration multiplies individual talents. Good judgment comes from experience. You must have a high tolerance for pain to achieve greatness. Never stop pushing the limits of what's possible.